Dear Taurus, something sacred has guided you here, be it fate, your ancestors, or perhaps a divine presence, so your heart can finally embrace the truth it has yearned for. This isn't just another message, it's a soul ritual. In those quiet moments, unseen by others, you, a steadfast Taurus, laid down your role as the rock for everyone, the builder and keeper of it all, to shield yourself from shattering from within. They may say you caused the crack, but the reality is this: you didn't break anything. You simply stopped holding up a structure that was already rotting. This struggle didn't erupt from anger. It emerged from the truth that the stability you fought to maintain was only an illusion. Taurus isn't the one who creates chaos. You are the one who chose to stop sacrificing your own peace. Your journey has been a silent, aching transformation, from enduring to liberating, from being taken for granted to being recognized by the universe and the divine. If you've ever stayed silent to maintain harmony, or stood your ground to protect your values, I invite you to declare this truth: I didn't come here to please anyone. I came here to build an authentic life. Let's begin where everything truly starts. You didn't ignite that fight. You just stopped pretending the foundation was still solid. Some souls are born to be builders, and Taurus is one of them. You were patient to the point where you forgot that you, too, need a safe place to rest. You once thought, if I keep enduring, maybe things will become stable again. And for years, you carried the weight, forgave without apologies, and tried to cultivate land that had long gone barren. But then came that sacred moment, an inevitable turning point every Taurus faces when patience begins to erode your very soul. You realized that if you didn't stop now, you might lose everything you had built for yourself. So, you stopped. You didn't scream, you didn't argue, you just quietly put down the weight. And just like that, their world began to shake. They claimed you shattered the stability, that you started the war. But what is the truth? You didn't create the instability, you simply stopped agreeing to a false sense of peace. You didn't want to destroy the relationship, you just couldn't keep using your own soul to patch up something that no longer had value. Taurus is not the source of turmoil. You are the first to dare to admit that the foundation has collapsed, a painful truth. Yes, but one that ultimately liberates you. I think of an ancient tree, rooted deep in the earth. It endures storms, droughts, and even wounds. But one day, it stops flowering for those who only take its fruit without ever watering its roots. You, Taurus, are the same. You remained silent for so long out of loyalty and a fear of change. When you finally chose peace for yourself, everyone was stunned because they had grown accustomed to a Taurus who was always there, always steady, always carrying the load. They forgot that the longer a mountain silently endures, the greater the earthquake when it finally shifts. But you didn't shift to retaliate. You shifted to find solid ground again. In the eyes of the divine, that isn't rebellion, it's a return to your core value. Taurus carries the energy of Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and worth. You sense the value in all things. You invest, you nurture, you love with a consistency others can only dream of. Yet, there comes a threshold, a sacred line, where you can no longer invest in a place that yields no return, where you start to see your own worth diminishing. And then your soul says, enough. You stop building, stop carrying, stop enduring. Suddenly, people begin to point fingers. Taurus has changed. But no, you haven't changed. You've returned to the truest version of yourself. Don't let anyone convince you that you caused the collapse. You didn't start the fight. You simply stopped betraying your own worth. You chose the truth, and if that caused the world around you to tremble, perhaps that world was never as solid as you believed. One thing is clear: Taurus is not a creator of karma. You are the one who dares to face the truth, to liberate souls, not just your own, but also those too afraid to admit they've been living in the ruins. You used to think you understood loyalty. You believed that if you were patient enough, steady enough, and sacrificial enough, someone would change, would cherish you, would build a solid future with you. But then you woke up one night, feeling like you were living in an empty house you built yourself. No one truly saw your exhaustion. No one asked, "Are you okay?" Or had you simply grown accustomed to not being okay? You realized you might have lived an entire chapter of your life believing in illusions of stability. There is a war quietly unfolding, not between you and someone else, but between you and the beliefs that kept you rooted in place for far too long. You once thought that enduring was loyalty, that building was love, and that sacrificing yourself was the way to preserve everything. But now, you must confront a harsh truth. Not all patience is rewarded. Not every relationship you try to save is worth saving. That moment of awakening can be painful, leaving you feeling unmoored, as if someone has pulled the rug out from under your feet. You begin to question yourself. Am I a bad person for no longer being patient? Am I selfish for walking away? Am I destroying everything by choosing truth over false peace? You feel scared and confused, but you take the next step because deep in your soul, you know you're not rebelling, you're saving yourself. Taurus embodies the wisdom of Mother Earth. You sense the truth with your grounded intuition. You see what others try to hide, which makes it challenging to exist in a world where you can't pretend. You can't keep calling rot stability. You can't keep calling coldness warmth. You can't keep calling exploitation destiny. And so, you act. In that moment, you become the problem in others' eyes because you dared to name what they've grown comfortable with in their web of lies. You didn't come to break things. You came to free them. You weren't angry. You were exhausted. You were so exhausted that you couldn't go another day carrying that weight. Remember, sometimes the first to walk away is not the traitor, but the one still brave enough to hold on to the fragments of their soul inside a flawed system. The Buddha called it the wisdom born of suffering. You must feel the barrenness of the soil to truly understand. No one deserves to be loved at the cost of losing themselves. You have awakened, and awakening often comes with loss. You've lost the person you used to be, relationships and dreams that once seemed beautiful but were built on illusions. Yet, you have found the most crucial thing again, your own worth. Waves of anger may rise unexpectedly, not from hatred, but because you've suppressed for far too long. Your silence became a prison, decorated with an exterior of stability, yet your soul withered within. You used to endure, to step back, to tell yourself, maybe I'm too stubborn, maybe I should just let it go. But those very thoughts slowly diminished you, not due to the pain, but because in your efforts to preserve something unreal, you began to lose yourself. There is a kind of breaking that makes no sound, a breaking that goes unnoticed. It happens in patient nods, kind words, even during warm gatherings where you felt suffocated. One day, you become difficult, not by shouting, but by simply refusing. You say no, you ask for rest, and you walk out of the room you once tried to build with your sacrifice. Suddenly, they label you the troublemaker. But let me tell you something, you weren't trying to break anything. You were merely trying not to be broken again. People see your final act, but they never witness the countless days you stayed silent to maintain peace. They see the moment you walked away, but not the thousands of times you stayed, even while your heart was bleeding. Dear Taurus, you became the problem, not because you were wrong, but because you refused to pretend any longer. That terrifies people. Truth acts as a mirror, and when you live honestly, you compel others to confront themselves. Some cannot bear that, and instead of changing, they blame you. But please, do not let that make you doubt yourself. Don't let the judgment of the world dim the sacred light that is slowly returning within you. Only those who have shattered in silence understand what it means to be brave enough to live honestly. In astrology, Taurus is the sign of Earth, symbolizing stability, nourishment, and perseverance. You carry the energy of a mountain deep, still, and vast. A mountain can withstand anything, yet it can also shift when its foundation has been eroded for too long. Sometimes, those shifts come not to destroy, but to re-establish a new order, returning balance to your being. The divine never asked you to endure to be loved. You were meant to live authentically, trusting that genuine love will never require you to pretend. You feel tired because you still have emotions. You act because somewhere within you, there's hope that something can change. Absolute silence is when the heart has shut its doors. But you, Taurus, still choose to love in the most honest way your soul knows how. You once asked, "What did I do wrong for everything to feel so barren?" You once prayed quietly, "Please let me see a fertile ground." Just once. You viewed life as a field where you were only given the driest patches, despite loving, nurturing, and sacrificing to your last breath. But what you didn't know is this: every time you were patient without receiving appreciation, every time you nurtured without seeing growth, and every time you remained silent to maintain peace for those who didn't deserve it, those were the moments karma was silently storing light for you in a higher realm. The universe never forgets, even when you don't scream, even when you don't explain, and even when you make no effort to prove who is right or wrong. It is your quiet dignity that makes heaven remember you. Now, dear Taurus, a circle is closing, and a new gate is opening. Not because you begged, but because you were worthy all along. You no longer need to plead for fairness. It is arriving like a bountiful harvest, gentle yet unstoppable. You don't have to justify how good you once were, because blessings don't come to those skilled at explaining. They come to those who lived in truth, even when that truth cost them everything. And you, Taurus, are one of the rare souls who dared to do just that. I understand. There were dreams you quietly folded away, prayers whispered in your heart that no one ever heard, moments when you thought, "Maybe I'll never have anything beautiful again." But you weren't being forgotten. You were being preserved so you could receive something pure. The divine did not punish you with loneliness. It pulled you away from the noise so you could finally hear the true voice of your soul. Once you heard that voice, you no longer sought stability in the same way. You no longer begged for validation. You became stability. You became worth. You became the very thing you once prayed for. And in that moment, the miracle began. Perhaps it wasn't a golden rainfall or a sudden apology. Maybe it was simply a morning where you woke up and felt your heart no longer heavy, no bitterness, no regrets, no debts. And then, the most beautiful thing found you quietly, steadily, just as you once loved, but this time for yourself. Karma does not forget those who lived truthfully. It does not remain silent for those who endured with dignity. Karma waits until you return to yourself. Then it begins to open the treasure chest. There are experiences in life not meant for the masses, not because they're too special, but because only those who've silently crumbled and risen again by faith can carry such gifts without losing themselves in the process. Dear Taurus, you didn't endure all that pain just to become strong. You went through it to understand that true stability never asks you to trade your soul to keep it. You were never destined to be a permanent anchor for those who lean on you but never truly cherish you. I know you used to think the blessing would never come. You looked at others, those who never sacrificed like you did, and wondered, why do they have it? And I don't. But the universe doesn't bestow its gifts on those unprepared to hold them with hands cleansed by tears and trust. You've held back so much, your feelings, your silence, the hope they would change. You held on because you believed that letting go would mean everything would fall apart. But here's the truth you've finally come to see: you let go not to lose, but to be free. And when the soul is free, the true gift finally has space to enter. Blessings don't come to those who are good at enduring. They come to those who've learned to stop enduring. Now you've learned no more silence, no more shrinking to make others comfortable with your light, no more locking your soul in a cage of compromise. This is your moment to step out, not with fanfare, but simply to shine as you were always meant to, because you dared to step out. A gift that has been waiting all this time is finally making its way to you. It doesn't seek anyone else. It can't find anyone else. This gift is uniquely yours, crafted from the essence of your journey, your struggles, and your courage. It is the universe's way of acknowledging your resilience and honoring the worth you've chosen to embrace. Imagine waking up one morning and feeling an undeniable shift within you, a sense of clarity and purpose that was once clouded by doubt. You'll find that the heaviness you carried has lifted, replaced by a gentle breeze of hope and possibility. This is the moment you've been waiting for, the moment when everything begins to align in your favor. As this gift arrives, it may come in unexpected forms. It could be a new opportunity that resonates with your soul, a connection with someone who sees your true value, or even a deep sense of self-love that allows you to finally appreciate your own worth. Whatever it is, know that it is meant for you and you alone. Allow yourself to be open to receiving this blessing. Trust that you are deserving of all the goodness the universe has to offer. You've walked through the shadows, faced your fears, and emerged with a heart that knows how to love fiercely and authentically. This gift is a reflection of that journey, a testament to your strength and your unwavering spirit. So, take a moment to breathe deeply and acknowledge the path you've traveled. Celebrate the milestones, both big and small, that have brought you to this point. You are not the same person you were before. You are transformed, ready to embrace the abundance that is flowing toward you. Remember, dear Taurus, that this is just the beginning. With every step you take toward your true self, you are paving the way for even greater blessings to come. The universe is watching, and it is proud of you. As you continue to shine your light, more gifts will find their way to you, each one more beautiful than the last. Stay open, stay hopeful, and trust in the process. Your journey is unfolding perfectly, and the best is yet to come. Embrace this moment, for it is a sacred invitation to step into the fullness of who you are meant to be. The world is waiting for your light, and it is time for you to shine.